Windows Server 2022. Welcome back everybody. I'm Prakash Pradhan, your trainer for this entire series. In today's topic, we're going to have some sort of the continuation regarding the same topic that we were doing last time. That means obviously that's talking about the UPN. So you might have seen that in every domain controller, or in order to say that you are going to log in a client server architecture in this model, every time any client, any of your workstation, whenever they log in their computer, they are going to log in using their name. That's a simple. They are just provided with a username and password and they are going to log in. But if we talk precisely, there are actually two ways that the user log in any workstation whenever any client is assigned with the username and password via the domain controller. That means when you log on in any computer as a client in server, any server, it might be server 2000, this is server 2000, 2003, it can be anything, server 2008, anything. That means when they log in either using a computer name, okay, and that is as a locally login in spite of having a member of the domain, or they are going to trying to log in with the domain credential. So when they log in with the domain credential, they are going to log in either via domain name, or they are going to use the user principal name. So let's have a look on this figure. So let's say that there is one user in your domain controller. So the name of that user I have given as a F1. Okay, so it might be finance1. Now over here, the name of my domain over here is the viatech.com. So when user login, we find, precisely speaking, two methods of logging in your domain computer, domain join computers. Number one, first method using a domain name. Number two, using a user principal name. Now let's see how using a domain name any user can log in a domain infrastructure. Number one, when they try to log in, they are going to provide the first part, that means netbase name of the domain. Of course, if your domain name is viatech.com, so they are going to join it or log in as a viatech / their username. Okay, so last time, if you have witnessed that, we have learned how to change the domain controller's name. So in my case, I have changed the domain controller's name as a viatech to the next one is the testing.com. Now I'm going to show you how user can log in a domain using a domain name with the first method. That is the easiest one. So we are going to provide the first part of the domain that we call a netbase name, and this one is the username. Okay, so let's go to the client. This is my client computer. So let me log off this one so that you can see practical implementation. Okay, so we are going to log in using a first method in a domain join computer using a domain name and the name of that user. Okay, so we are going to sign out and I'm going to join it using the first method, domain name / username, and then the authentication, whatever you have been provided in a form of the password that the user is going to provide with the password, and we are going to log in. Okay, so let's see now. If you have a look over here, this is my client that's been logged off, so we are going to reconnect it in Windows 10. So I'm going to log in over here, okay, as a user, that's a domain user. So let's go over here. Now I'm going to provide this my credential, okay, using other user. Okay, I'm going to write over here, let's say testing. If you can see over here, this is a netbase name / username. Okay, and then we are going to provide the authentication in a form of password, whatever that was assigned to the user. So this is the first method of signing in your domain join computer. So now this user will log in successfully. Now the next important thing over here, what you need to see or what you need to practice is that what about the log file? What about if you would like to make sure that that user has log in using the first method? That's a domain name. So this can be seen easily using the event viewer. So if you can see over here, since the user has already logged in, see, user has already logged in. Now this event should come to the event viewer of the server. So for that, you don't have to go to the domain. That means any kind of the group policy. So I'm going to write over here event viewer, okay, and then you'll see over here that all many events have been generated, because I have not cleaned since long, so there might be thousands and thousands of this event viewer. So out of which we are going to focus only with the login event. Okay, so let it come. So let's expand it, Windows logs and the security. This security will give you the information regarding the login events. Now it's loading. So there might be thousands and thousands. Okay, see over here 99,266. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this all. okay, because we don't want to waste your time searching for the event that shows the login event of this user that we have given in a form of this credential that was a F1 user. Okay, so since we are having the maximum number of events over here generated, okay, so it's taking time, so wait for the few seconds before it gets loaded all the events. Okay, that's in the form of log actually, so it's coming now. See, many are there. Okay, so if you log in, if you see over here there is a login. Okay, of course we are using the Kerberos, so I'm going to select this one. Okay, double click this one and it's going to show you, see, domain name is testing.com. okay, this is the client machine. Okay, client machine, domain name client machine, and it is successfully logged in. Server name is this server, so it is successfully logged in. And even if I clear all of this, let's say I'm gonna clear the log. Okay, so I don't want to save it, so clear it. So let's see the successful one. Okay, successful one. So let's see now this one, administrator, it's a testing domain. So what I'm going to do now, again, to see that it is working successfully, I'm going to log off over here so that this log event will go to your domain controllers event viewer, and from where you can see that the first process of login is actually logged in your system, that means in your server. So let's log in using the same process. Okay, and we are going to go to the other user and I'm going to write the first part of the domain, as you can see, and the name of the user, and I'm going to provide the authentication. Of course, that's in a form of the password. So by the time I go to the event viewer of my server over here, you should notice that it's going to load others as well. See, so many are there now. Okay, so I'm gonna check this one. Okay, this is null. Okay, testing. See now, F1, testing F1. This has used the first type of the login actually. If you can see the time, see here, this is the date and time. Okay, this date and time is also showing. So this was the first method. That means by going through the event viewer in the security, you can also view the login events. That means when did that particular user log in, okay, in which machine, and when it was log off. So this can be done. And regarding this login and this log of detailed information, I'm going to make another one video. And guys, trust me, that's gonna help you a lot. But the next type of your, the log for your UPN via UPN, that we need to discuss in detail. Okay, we had a one domain, so we followed the first type of the method in order to log in a domain join member computers. We give the domain name and the name of the user. So we saw the log also. It's okay. What if you are going to have so many child domains? For example, let's say my root domain is biotech.com. Inside this, I made another one subdomain. That means the child domain, let's say. Okay. Inside this, we have got another one domain. So in that case, let's say if a user whose name is F1 is created at the root and that user need to log in via this computer, for instance, or let's say a user is created over here. But when you log in, it has to, come in a hierarchy, or it has to inherit from top. That means the login name of that user is going to be F1@Viatech2, Viatech1, Viatech. That means it has to indicate all the domains. So if you see over here, it's a long name. So what we do now in this kind of situation, we are going to use the user principal name. That is the only main reason whenever user login, okay, in a domain environment, if they are using the user principal name, you should understand they are having more than one domain relate over here. So if you'd like to see through which you can see this domain user principal name, I'm going to show you. So go to the tools, active directory users and computers. Okay, you go to the any OU where the users are created. Of course, I'm going to show you the same account that I have created. Okay, that is over here in a finance. Okay, so if I go to F1 and right click and property over here, have a look over here. Now it's going to show you the user principal name. In an account, you see user principal name over here. That means F1@testing.com. Okay, now if you would like to monitor, okay, which user has login in your server using the user principal name. Don't forget, we use user principal name only in a case if you have got more than one domain. So the username of that user is going to be a bit longer one. Okay, so there are two methods now. Number one, you can follow the same process. You follow all of this hierarchy. Okay, first domain, second domain, and the top domain from the bottom. Or you can create any type of UPN as well, so that without using any of this domain name, that user can use the newly created UPN. So I would like to show you that as well. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to create a separate UPN that does not exist even in your domain. So for that, let's go to Tools, Domain and Trust. Okay, let it open this. And from here, you can create actually another one. Okay, let's go to the properties. See here, alternate UPN suffix. You can create the alternate UPN suffix. If you have a look over here, let's go back again. If I take you to your users and computers and I go to the properties of that user, you are going to see that there is only one UPN. That means all the users who will log in using the UPN, he or she is supposed to provide this only. But what if you are having the situation something like this that we discussed? So many domains are there. So the username, user principal name is going to be so many. It's quite big. So in that case, we are going to create one alternate UPN actually. Okay, so in order to create the alternate UPN, you go to the Tools, Active Directory, Users and Computers, you expand it, okay, right click, then you create a new suffix actually. So wait, okay, now we are going to use over here, I mean to say that, Domain and Trust that I have shown previously. So right, not here, not in testing, okay, you go to the Active Directory, Domain and Trust, right click, Properties, straight away it will take you to the screen for the UPN, alternate UPN. So I'm going to give, let's say, okay, mylab.com for example. Okay, now add it, apply. Okay, now if I go to the Active Directory Users and Computers and I go to the properties of that user, so it's going to be listed to UPN actually. See here. That means now this user, if I select this another one UPN, still this user will be allowed to log in that domain. So f1@mylab.com, apply, okay. Okay, so now let's go to the client and let's test it practically. Okay, so I'm going to log off over here and I'm going to sign in using the different name. Okay, then I'm going to show you how to monitor whoever has login using your UPN as well. So let's sign out this one. So wait for the few seconds, let it come. Now again I would like to show you, I'm going to sign in using this UPN. See here, this UPN, mylab.com. okay, now let's go over there and I'm going to write over here. Okay, so let's say F1 and now I'm using the UPN. Okay, mylab.com, and I'm going to provide the authentication and it's going to log in. There is no problem with this. Why? That UPN is already created and that user's name is being added with the mylab.com. That means whatever we created just now over here, properties, account, mylab.com. Okay, now you might be wondering or you might be thinking that F1 might not be able to log in with that UPN, but I'd like to show you practically it will sign in. See, it's logging. Already it's done. Okay, now the most important thing, next important thing is that I'm going to log off over here again. What if you'd like to monitor who has logged in using the UPN? Because just now I showed you the first, using the event viewer. Over there you are not going to see actually whoever has logged in you using the user principal name in your network environment. So in that case you'll have to download the network monitor tool actually from the Microsoft. Okay, so let's see now. I have already downloaded network monitor tool, but if you need to download it, it's not a tough job. You go to the google.com and you type network monitor tool and you'll find it. Just click this one. Okay, you can search it easily because I do believe you all are expert in this work. So go to the download and choose as per your operating system and your bit. So okay, so select it and download and then you are going to install it. Just simple that. Okay, now I'm going to install it and I'm going to show you how you can monitor whoever has logged in using your UPN. So let's install this network monitor tool, and also make sure that when you install this one, you'll have to have the privilege of administrator. Of course, I do believe that you all understand. If you do not have a privilege to install this with the administrative privilege, in that case you are not going to be able to install this network monitor tool. So let it install, and then we are going to sign in or log in again using the UPN, and then you will notice that it will show you clearly that whoever has logged in using the UPN, it's going to show you. Okay, now for that we might be able to use the script, but I'm going to show you the easiest one. Okay, so since we're in a lab environment, I don't want to go for any kind of update or anything, so that it saves your time. So let it install. So this network monitor tool we are using in a lab environment, we are using as a educational purpose only. We are not going to use anything or to steal anyone's data or track any information. This is just for the testing purpose in your lab, just to show you that whoever log in using the UPN can be monitored. Okay, now first, so let it install first, this one, then we'll go back to the client. So it's installing, so wait for more seconds. By the time you get ready your client machine in order to monitor that. Okay, so let's go over here. Of course, we are going to right now, we are going to use that same thing. That's a F1 at the rate, sorry, you'll have to go to the other and write F1 at the rate mylab.com. Okay, and then I'm going to provide a credential, but I'm not going to press enter over here because I need to run that network monitor tool after the installation is done in order to monitor that. So it's gathering the required information. Let it go full. It won't take long. Okay, congratulations, now it's been already installed over here. So in order to monitor, okay, who has login using the user principal name in your domain environment, you simply double click this one. That means to open this console. Okay, and then you go to the new capture. Okay, now before, let's see over here, this client is not logged in so far. If I go to client, it's not logged in over here. Okay, it's not logged in. So let's see, let it prepare this one so that we can do the work over there. So let's F1 at the rate mylab.com. Okay, now we are going to give the authentication. This is the password. So get it ready, and I will go back to my server where the network monitor tool is installed. So you drag it a little bit down. Now I'm going to start it. Okay, I'm going to start it. Then I'm going to the client and I'm going to log in using the user principal name. Now, as soon as this user is logged in using the user principal name, it's going to record, it's going to capture the packet using that network monitor tool. Okay, so by the time, let's go to the server. So far, I believe it has already started. You see, so many packets have been captured so far. See. Running a network monitor tool, it's not a bad idea, but I suggest you to run only at the time when you need. Otherwise, it's going to make so many files over here. So I'm going to stop it, okay, because our work is already done. See, it's already logged in. Now my work is to show you how to monitor that your login event over here, whoever has logged in using your network, I mean to say your user principal name. So let's click this one, NM3. Now I want to show you only the Kerberos. Right now, when anyone user log in using the user principal name, okay, they are going to use the Kerberos version 5 only. So I do believe everybody knows that. Now, if I double click or if I expand it bit over here, you see it's showing that F1 at the rate mylab.com. That means this user has logged in. See over here, Kerberos as request CNAME is equals to this. That means this user has logged in your system using your user principal name, and that is a Kerberos 5. Now, if you'd like to query only that Kerberos authentication over here, that's been done. Okay, using user principal name, you can also provide the script that you can see over here. This script. So this script goes like this. Okay, Kerberos version 5. And you give 2 and then description. description dot contains, okay, then you write as request, just that. Press enter, or I mean to say, then you apply, and it will show you only this Kerberos authentication. Rest of the information will not get listed because TCP, UDP, other protocols are also shown over here, and that is not our concern at this moment. So it makes clear, okay, that whenever any user log in your network environment, so they are logging using any of these two methods. Either they are going to log in using the first method, domain name. They provide a net bias name and the name of the user. They log in. This can be monitored using the event viewer as a log. And if anyone log in your network environment using the user principal name, because they are having so many domains over here, in that case they are going to use a UPN. But if you have got more than 2 or 3 names as a UPN, you need to create one alternate UPN actually, so that the username becomes certain. So but in order to monitor this one, you'll have to use the network monitor tool. Okay, without using the network monitor tool, you will not be able to monitor that whoever has logged in using the user principal name. So I do believe it was very easy going. Okay, just you need to download this Microsoft Network Monitor tool from the Microsoft site, and you can implement, or you can even provide it to searching this Kerberos login using the script. Okay, then apply. It will be shown only this protocol actually. So I hope it was easy and you got this bit idea about when to use a first method of login using the domain name and when to use the second method of login using the user principal name. And I hope that you also understood, that you also learned that how we can create the alternate UPN and how this alternate UPN can be benefited to the client if they are having more than one domain in order to provide as a UPN. So thank you very much. Please do like and subscribe.